Welcome to Whispers of the Taken, where every case we cover is more than just a mystery. It's a life, a voice that's been lost, silenced, or forgotten. If you believe these stories deserve to be heard, hit that like button. Subscribe to join us as we search for truth in the shadows. Share this video to help spread awareness, and if something about this story sticks with you, leave a comment below. Sometimes, the smallest detail or the quietest voice makes all the difference.
It was December 2009, just days before Christmas, when baby Gabriel Johnson entered the world. A new life arriving during what's meant to be the happiest time of the year. His parents, Elizabeth Johnson and Logan McQueary, were overwhelmed with joy, dreaming of a bright future for their newborn son. But that joy would be devastatingly short-lived. On December 27th, the day after Christmas, a time when most families are still wrapped in warmth and celebration, Gabriel vanished. Just 8 months old. Gone. His mother, Elizabeth, would make two shocking claims. First, that she had smothered her baby and left his body in a dumpster. Then, she changed her story, telling police she had handed Gabriel over to a mysterious couple she met in a San Antonio park. No last names, no adoption papers, no trace of the baby ever again. What happened to Gabriel Johnson? Was this a mother's desperate lie, or a far more chilling truth? In a case clouded by contradictions, heartbreak, and haunting silence, we revisit the final days of baby Gabriel's life and ask the question the world still can't answer. Where is he? The vanishing of Gabriel Johnson, a mother's lies, a father's agony, and a justice system that turned away. It was just after Christmas in 2009 when the world lost sight of 8-month-old Gabriel Scott Johnson, a baby boy whose face would go on to haunt headlines, true crime documentaries, and missing persons databases for years to come. His disappearance wasn't simply a tragic accident. It was the result of a deeply disturbing chain of events set into motion by his own mother, Elizabeth Johnson, a woman whose manipulations, lies, and cold-hearted decisions have made her one of the most reviled figures in recent missing child cases. Gabriel's story should have been simple. A child caught in a custody battle, perhaps, but one who would be safe and loved. His father, Logan McQueary, fought hard for his son. He showed up for every court hearing, filed every piece of paperwork, resisted pressure to give up his parental rights, and made every effort to do what was right. But despite his devotion, Logan would be failed, not just by the woman who gave birth to his child, but by the very institutions meant to protect both him and Gabriel. Elizabeth Johnson had a different agenda. In December 2009, amid a volatile custody dispute, Elizabeth disappeared from Arizona with Gabriel in tow. She drove to San Antonio, Texas, and checked into a motel known to law enforcement for housing illegal activity, including so-called black market adoptions. In that motel, the last known photo of Gabriel was taken. What happened next is where Elizabeth's cruel nature was laid bare for the world to see. First, she sent a text message to Logan saying she had killed their son and dumped his lifeless body in a dumpster. A mother, claiming to have murdered her own child out of spite, not remorse, not sorrow, just raw vengeance aimed at the man who loved his son. But when she was arrested days later, she changed her story. This time, she claimed she had handed Gabriel off to a mysterious couple she met in a San Antonio park, supposedly to give him a better life. Two versions, two horrifying outcomes, and no Gabriel. The truth? Still unknown. Elizabeth Johnson was a master manipulator. Prior to vanishing, she had signed over temporary guardianship of Gabriel to a Scottsdale couple. The woman, Tammy Peters Smith, was later found guilty of forgery and conspiracy to commit custodial interference, having lied about Gabriel's paternity in court documents. She wanted Gabriel for herself and conspired with Elizabeth to keep him from Logan. But Logan never stopped fighting. He contacted authorities, tried to block the adoption, and did everything in his power to bring his son back. Yet when it mattered most, the system failed him. Arizona's child welfare services didn't intervene quickly or forcefully enough. The Scottsdale court allowed Elizabeth to slip through the cracks, and when she crossed state lines, the system in Texas did no better. Even after Elizabeth confessed to murder and later retracted it, the investigation was slow, fragmented, and ultimately inconclusive. Despite her conflicting stories, her involvement in illegal guardianship agreements, and her total lack of cooperation, Elizabeth Johnson was never charged with murder. She was ultimately convicted of unlawful imprisonment, custodial interference, and conspiracy to commit custodial interference. But the charge that mattered most, kidnapping, was dropped. The jury didn't buy it. She was sentenced to just over 5 years in prison, and, because of time served, she walked away far sooner than the public ever expected. And Gabriel? Still gone. Still voiceless. Still missing. Logan McQueary remains the image of a heartbroken but determined father. While Elizabeth Johnson has since changed her name, started a new life, and faded into obscurity, Logan has spent every year since 2009 demanding answers, raising awareness, and refusing to forget his son. Gabriel would be 16 years old today. And while the authorities may have moved on, Logan hasn't, and neither have those who see this case as one of the most egregious miscarriages of justice in modern history. Elizabeth's lies didn't just confuse an investigation, they destroyed lives. Her selfishness, her cruelty, and her manipulation of the system allowed her to walk away while Gabriel vanished into thin air. She has never shown true remorse, never led police to Gabriel, never offered a shred of closure. The justice system in both Arizona and Texas had every opportunity to stop her. They had the confessions, the forged documents, the shady motel stays, the photographs. But somehow, in a sea of red flags, they let her slip away with nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Gabriel Johnson is still listed as missing. Organizations like Project Absentis, led by former FBI agents and detectives, continue to pursue leads. But the public knows the truth. The system turned its back on a baby, and in doing so, it turned its back on justice. This is not just a story of a missing child. It's a cautionary tale of how lies, corruption, and systemic apathy can combine to erase a life and let the guilty walk free. Gabriel, wherever you are not forgotten. Thank you for staying until the end. That alone means you care. If Gabriel's story moved you, or if you believe justice still matters, please like this video and subscribe to help keep these stories alive. Share it so others don't forget. And let us know your thoughts in the comments, because the more voices we gather, the louder the whispers become.